Welcome to Royal Secret. Imagine this. The glittering world of royalty isn't just tiaras, designer gowns, and fairy tale weddings. Behind palace walls, family rifts, royal power plays, and decades of tradition are constantly in collision. And in Denmark, a royal storm just erupted, one that stunned Europe's aristocracy and left royal watchers speechless. King Frederik X, once the dashing crown prince now elevated to monarch, has stunned the world with a quiet but powerful act that may redefine what it means to be royal in the 21st century. His bold and compassionate move for his two young nephews, yes, the very ones stripped of their princely titles by Queen Margrethe herself, has opened a new chapter in Denmark's royal saga. So, what exactly did Frederik do? And what does this mean for the future of the Danish monarchy? Let's unravel this royal mystery, where tradition, emotion, and legacy are battling for the throne. The stage was set in late 2022, when Queen Margrethe II of Denmark, one of Europe's longest reigning and most respected monarchs, made a decision that rocked her family to its core. In a move that reverberated across every major European tabloid, she stripped four of her grandchildren, Count Nikolai, Count Felix, Count Henrik, and Countess Athena, of their royal titles. Gone were the titles of prince and princess. In their place, Count and Countess of Montpezat. The justification: modernization. According to Queen Margrethe, the decision was made to allow the grandchildren to shape their own lives without the burdens and limitations of formal royal obligations. But no matter how noble the reasoning, the fallout was instant and emotional. Prince Joachim, the father of the children and younger son of Margrethe, was reportedly devastated. He said in interviews that his children had been humiliated publicly. The world watched, stunned, as a royal family's private pain spilled into the public arena. Was this truly about modernizing the monarchy? Or was there a deeper, more personal fracture within Denmark's royal house? At the center of this storm stood Crown Prince Frederik, heir to the Danish throne, and brother to the embattled Prince Joachim. Frederik has always been seen as the stable, responsible royal, dutiful, diplomatic, loved by the Danish public and respected internationally, especially alongside his elegant Australian-born wife, Queen Mary. But privately, sources close to the royal family described the brothers' relationship as strained, and growing colder by the year. The title stripping added fuel to that fire. When Queen Margrethe made her announcement, Frederik and Mary publicly supported her decision, describing it as necessary for the future of the monarchy. This move drove an even deeper wedge between the two royal brothers. Joachim and his wife, Princess Marie, eventually left Denmark altogether, relocating first to Paris and later to Washington, D.C., where Joachim took a diplomatic defense role with the Danish embassy. So, when Frederik ascended the throne in early 2024 following Queen Margrethe's abdication, royal watchers were skeptical. Would the new king reach out to heal the wounds left in his mother's wake? Few expected what came next. In the spring of 2025, Danish palace insiders began whispering about an unusual private meeting held at Amalienborg Palace. Present, King Frederik, his council, and a key legal advisor known for interpreting the finer points of royal heritage law. What emerged from that meeting would not be announced via a press release, nor blasted across social media. Instead, the world discovered the truth through Count Nikolai himself. In a quiet interview with a French magazine, the 24-year-old fashion model and former prince casually mentioned, "My uncle has done more for us in the past 3 months than anyone could have imagined. He didn't just remember us, he defended us." The quote spread like wildfire. What did Nikolai mean? As Danish media dug deeper, the full picture emerged. King Frederik had taken steps to restore certain privileges, private, symbolic, but powerful, that his nephews had lost. Among them, restored royal residence access. The young counts were quietly granted renewed rights to use Amalienborg guest wings when visiting Denmark. Royal event invitations. Nikolai and Felix were invited to select royal functions, including Frederik and Mary's upcoming anniversary gala. Discreet title recognition abroad. In private diplomatic circles abroad, Frederik began reintroducing the styling Prince of Denmark as an honorary courtesy, especially for Nikolai and Felix, though not reinstated formally in law. It wasn't a full restoration, but it was a statement. A deeply personal one. To understand this seismic shift, we must ask, why did King Frederik, once aligned with his mother's reforms, now take a stand for the very nephews she disciplined. Several factors may have pushed him toward this quiet revolution. Public sentiment has shifted. Initial reactions to Queen Margrethe's decision were mixed. Some applauded her desire to streamline the monarchy. But as time passed, a wave of sympathy grew for Joachim's children, especially the eldest, Nikolai and Felix, who had conducted themselves with dignity under public scrutiny. Many Danes began to ask, was this punishment too harsh? Frederik, ever mindful of his people's feelings, may have recognized this tide and acted to correct what now seemed like an overreach. Family healing before it's too late. Royal families are not immune to the fractures of ordinary kin. And the Danish monarchy, however fairy tale it may appear, is still rooted in blood, bonds, and shared history. Sources suggest that Queen Mary, always a voice of compassion and diplomacy, played a quiet but crucial role in encouraging Frederik to reconcile with his brother's children. And perhaps Frederik himself, now a father of 4 and a king navigating the weight of the crown, recognized that unity is not a weakness, but a royal strength. Protecting the monarchy's legacy. Finally, let's not forget the strategic element. Frederik is not just a king, he is the steward of a 1,000-year-old dynasty. And dynasties, especially in today's media-saturated world, depend not only on lineage but on perception. By quietly reaching out to his nephews, Frederik is sending a message that Denmark's royal family is not cold or ruthless, but capable of compassion, humility, and growth. It's royal chess at its finest. Before we move on, let's take a closer look at the young men at the heart of this drama. Count Nikolai of Montpezat. Born in 1999, Nikolai is Joachim's eldest son with his first wife, Alexandra, Countess of Frederiksberg. A model signed with Scoop Models, he's walked the runway for Dior and become a style icon across Europe. Despite the glamour, Nikolai has always maintained a respectful distance from scandal. His interviews are thoughtful, his presence at royal events, when allowed, has been dignified. Count Felix of Montpezat. 2 years younger than Nikolai, Felix is more private but no less graceful. He briefly enrolled in military training, like many royals, but left early, reportedly with family support. He's now pursuing business studies and modeling part-time. Both brothers have become quiet symbols of a new kind of royalty, not defined by titles, but by character. Frederik's gesture toward them is more than familial, it's a nod to the future. What happens when royal brothers, divided by duty, pride, and years of silence, meet behind palace doors? That question was answered on a cold morning in Copenhagen just weeks after Count Nikolai's interview sent shockwaves through royal circles. Inside the stately Amalienborg complex, a quiet, unannounced meeting took place. King Frederik, Prince Joachim, no photographers, no official statement, just 2 brothers, heirs of a 1,000-year-old monarchy, finally face to face. Sources close to the palace say the conversation lasted nearly 3 hours. And while the contents remain confidential, palace staff revealed one striking detail: there were tears. It wasn't just policy or protocol being discussed, it was pain. Real, buried, unresolved emotional pain. The kind only brothers raised under the pressure of monarchy can understand. Those close to Prince Joachim say he had not expected the meeting. After relocating to the US with Princess Marie and his children, he had accepted that his relationship with Frederik, and with the institution itself, had soured beyond repair. But Frederik's private outreach, made not through aides but through a personal handwritten note, was the gesture that changed everything. It read, in part, "Our sons deserve more than silence. You and I deserve to speak as brothers, not as titles." For a royal family famous for its restraint, such an emotional plea was a thunderclap. In the days after the meeting, Prince Joachim did something unexpected. He gave a short but candid interview to a Danish magazine, Bild Bladet, a rare move for a man often guarded with the press. When asked about King Frederik's outreach, Joachim paused before saying, "I never imagined we would have that conversation. But I'm grateful we did. There's much to rebuild." He didn't elaborate on details, but he didn't need to. The symbolism was powerful enough. For the first time in nearly 2 years, Joachim publicly acknowledged a thaw between the 2 royal brothers. And he wasn't alone in feeling relief. Within royal circles, senior courtiers described the move as deeply stabilizing. One former advisor to Queen Margrethe went even further: this is how monarchies survive. Not by stubbornness, but by reconciliation. So what of Queen Margrethe II, the architect of the title-stripping controversy, and the matriarch whose decisions sparked the rift? Officially, Margrethe has remained silent on her son's reversal of tone. There has been no statement, no interview, and no visible public reaction. But insiders suggest she is far from indifferent. In fact, those close to the former queen suggest she was both moved and unsettled by Frederik's outreach. Moved, because despite everything, she remains a mother first. And like any mother, she wants peace among her children. Unsettled, because King Frederik's actions may quietly undo the most controversial decision of her reign. Margrethe abdicated the throne in January 2024 after 52 years of service. Though widely praised for her modernizing efforts, her twilight years were clouded by family drama. The title decision, she later admitted, had brought her personal pain. And now, less than 2 years later, her successor, her son, was already recalibrating that legacy. Would she push back? According to one well-placed source, no. The Queen Emerita is wise enough to know when to let go. While King Frederik may have extended the olive branch, palace insiders credit much of the healing to one woman, Queen Mary. Known for her elegance, intellect, and emotional intelligence, Queen Mary has long been a stabilizing force in the Danish monarchy. And behind the scenes, her role in brokering peace has been pivotal. She was the one who told Frederik, "These boys are part of our family story. They should never feel otherwise," one insider revealed. It's not the first time Mary has been the quiet architect of change. During her 2 decades in the royal spotlight, she's led initiatives in mental health, gender equality, and youth leadership. But her most powerful work has often been personal, inside the family, out of public view. According to friends, Mary reached out to Count Nikolai directly last Christmas, sending a handwritten card and inviting him to an upcoming private dinner. That single gesture, described by Nikolai as unexpected and incredibly kind, may have laid the foundation for Frederik's eventual decision. As one royal biographer put it, Mary isn't just Denmark's queen. She's the family's conscience. Once news of Frederik's quiet reconciliation efforts began to circulate, the media response was immediate and intense. Danish newspapers praised the move, calling it a restoration of dignity for Joachim's children. International press, including outlets in France and the UK, speculated about whether Denmark's monarchy might be setting a new precedent, one where royals could gracefully reverse unpopular reforms without appearing weak. Social media lit up with praise for Frederik. One viral post read, "King Frederik is showing that true strength lies in forgiveness. The monarchy feels human again." Even more surprising, the younger generation of Danes rallied behind Nikolai and Felix, many of whom have followed their careers as models and influencers with admiration. To Gen Z and millennials in Denmark, the boys were never just royal, they were relatable. One fashion blogger wrote, "They lost their titles, but not our hearts. King Frederik just gave us back a piece of the fairy tale." Perhaps the most powerful moment in this unfolding story came not through press releases or interviews, but through an invitation. In early May 2025, the royal palace announced a lavish gala dinner to be held at Christiansborg Palace, celebrating King Frederik and Queen Mary's 21st wedding anniversary. Among the invited guests, Count Nikolai, Count Felix, and, surprise of all surprises, Prince Joachim and Princess Marie. It would be the first time the family appeared together in public since the title scandal. As guests arrived, cameras flashed, and reporters jostled for position. But the moment that stole the night came when King Frederik and Count Nikolai shared an embrace, a genuine, warm hug that sent the crowd into applause. Even Queen Margrethe, seated near the head of the table, appeared to smile faintly. The symbolism was unmistakable. A family, once fractured, was showing the world that healing was not only possible, it was underway. So what now? Does this mean the titles will be officially restored? Not quite. Sources inside the royal council suggest that formal title reinstatement is unlikely, at least for now. The legal precedent set by Queen Margrethe remains intact. But symbolically, the door is wide open. By granting informal courtesies, public appearances, and private access to royal estates, King Frederik is laying the groundwork for a hybrid royal model, one that honors tradition while adapting to new realities. And this may not be limited to Denmark. Already, commentators in Sweden and Norway are wondering if other Scandinavian royals might follow suit. Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden and Crown Prince Haakon of Norway have both expressed admiration for Frederik's modern kingship. In a world where monarchies are under pressure to justify their relevance, King Frederik is offering a new blueprint: less rigidity, more humanity. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to leave your comment below.